So everyone please rise. Pass out the programs. We should have the little chant cards. Do we not have those? Chant cards? Okay. I have to think of everything. Put my mask. I look better with it on. The weather gods are smiling on us. So just to give you a brief overview for the newcomers and guests, we'll go through a welcome. We're not doing a procession since we're already outdoors. We'll chant the heart of Great Perfect Wisdom Sutra. Chant along as best you can. Those of you who know it don't need a card, but the others. The yellow books also have it if you run out of those. And each candidate will step up and offer 3 pinches of incense for Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, the 3 treasures. And when we have a sermon, which will be read for us, we go through a purification, a head shaving, symbolic. And we do the repentance and refuges, which if you attended the Jukai, these are expressed slightly differently. If you look at the ceremonies on the formal path, the ceremonies, future ceremonies are more and more sort of complex and express the same precepts in a different way. And then after the precepts, come up for another pinch of incense, and we offer the Dharma names. Now, after receiving the precepts, there is what is called the blow of compassion, or kyosaku stick, where I will come around and each candidate kneels, and they're struck on the shoulders with a stick. In Soto Zen, this is done on request only. In this case, because you're becoming a disciple, it's simply the direct teaching, as Matsuoka Roshi put it, from your teacher to you. The understanding between teachers and disciples is you're slumping in the Zen dog, the teacher sees you, or even an attendant, they'll come over and tap you on the shoulder and strike you to help wake up. It's called the wake-up stick. Not something we can understand unless we try it. So then we do lineage bows. We bow to each other, and then we all bow to Buddha, representing horizontal and vertical dimensions of the lineage. Then we do a concluding statement and a declaration, and then it'll be time for congratulations and pictures. Okay? It shouldn't take too long. So welcome. Where is it here? Okay. We are here to witness these candidates for discipleship. In Japanese, called ZAIKE TOKUDO, Jukai Tokudo, initiation. Tokudo means receiving the precepts. So you receive the precepts again, only this time you receive all 10 grave precepts. In Jukai, we receive 5, first 5. These candidates are undergoing ZAIKE TOKUDO, which is also considered lay ordination. It's the first formal step or stage on the path to become a Zen priest. This is a personal choice. We don't promote it. We don't proselytize. We don't recommend that people become priests. In my case, Matsuoka Roshi said, you must become a priest. But we think it's a personal choice. It's not for everyone. But this is the first necessary prerequisite on the formal path. So we begin by chanting the heart of the Great Wisdom Sutra together. Those in the audience, please sit. Be comfortable. Oh, no, stay. I'm sorry. Remain standing for the chant and then sit. This is the way we show respect for the sutra. The Shinjin, Mike Goldman, will lead us to drum and gong. Heart of Great Perfect Wisdom Sutra. Aloha. Please collect the sutra cards from the candidates. Suki, no, Mark. Adam will do that. Adam will do that. And from the observers. So, beginning with Kusatsu, please step forward. Offer 3 pinches of incense. The first to your forehead, the second raise to Buddha, and the third just dump it on the charcoal. These 3 pinches of incense, this is my approval of this candidate. Thank you. These 3 pinches of incense represent the 3 treasures of Buddhism. Buddha being historical Buddha, Shakyamuni, as well as our own awakened nature, hope for awakened nature. So your original nature is also called Buddha nature, to my approval. So the founder and our self nature is the dual kind of identity of Buddha. Second one represents Dharma, the compassionate teachings first handed down to us historically by Buddha. Dharma, the compassionate teaching, also has a double-sided kind of meaning. That is, Dharma has been handed down to us in the written and spoken teachings from 2,500 years ago. Buddha's first sermon given to his 5 companions, the ascetics with whom he was traveling, was the first instance of Dharma spoken by Buddha to a Sangha. But it also means our apprehension of the Dharma in our daily life as the law of the universe, the way things work. Taoism is called the Tao. So as far as I can tell, there's no real separation of Dharma and Tao. And thirdly, the Sangha is the community of practitioners and trainees, beginning with Buddha's original order in India and transmitting down to us today for the current contemporary practitioners of this way. Matsuoka Roshi said, if any one of these three legs of the stool of Buddhism disappeared, Buddhism disappeared. And so we try to strike a balance between our personal practice of Buddha, study of Dharma, Buddha's practice on the cushion, meditation primarily, study of Dharma, and the participation in community. The balancing act between the three. So now we will ask Joseph, your Dharma name again. Kunyan, and it means?
Empty suffering.
Empty suffering, best kind. We'll read the sermon, ZAIKE TOKUDO, which means something like the Dharma of staying at home, or expounding the Dharma while staying home. Tokudo means the attainment of going beyond, or the experience of enlightenment.
In the words of our founder, Sengaku Marasoka Roshi, the title of Zen disciple should not be just a name. It carries with it a great responsibility, both to be an example to the community and to the public. With this title, you are already a Zen instructor in public and within the Zen Center. You must demonstrate your ability to perform the formal duties as well as your heartfelt sincerity, dependability, and respect for your Dharma, father, brothers, and sisters as living manifestations of the three treasures. Being a disciple of Zen entails a complete dedication and change in your way of life. It should be reflected in your actions. Disciples practice the precepts of not sparing the Dharma assets by adhering to the above, and by supporting the center financially as well. You are one of the center's pillars, and it cannot exist without the commitment of the disciples. Another very important admonition for disciples is that you must regularly attend the center's meditation and special services to the best of your ability. You will find that once you make a sincere commitment to Zen meditation and to the center, enlightenment will grow in your life. Let me add to O-sensei's words that you should accept the designation of Zen disciple with humility, recognizing that while this title signifies a certain recognition, sincerity, and devotion to practice, deserved by your Dharma father and the community, it is not a certificate of accomplishment. True authentication of your practice is inseparable from the cultivation of it. How you actualize this in your life is entirely up to you. The true meaning of this ceremony will be revealed in your future life, much as the beauty of a flower is revealed one petal at a time, as the blossom unfolds. Discipleship certification is not the end of a phase of training, but the beginning of true training itself. It is truly entering the gate of Zen.
So now is purification. I will come amongst you with the purifying bowl, water, spurging water. We will chant together Namu Shakyamuni Butsu. I take refuge in Shakyamuni Buddha. As many times as it takes for me to cover everyone. join. It never actually ends. Preparation of the temple. Symbolic shaving of the head. We won't actually touch you. All right, shave your head. Shave your head. In the old days, and especially leaving behind your own memories of your own past, in particular, your own judgmental mind about the meaning of your own past. So the Zen mind is kind of the ultimate reboot. So now, please repeat after me. Go on, we'll chant the title, strike the gong before and after the title. I will chant the Japanese, you will strike the middle gong after the Japanese. And then you repeat after me the English. I will say the English in phrases so that you can repeat after. Acknowledgement of karma. Gashaku shozo shoakuto. All the karmic thoughts, speech, and actions ever committed by me since time immemorial. Ayu mushi tonjinshi. Arising from beginningless ignorance, arising from craving greed, arising from misguided anger, arising from endless delusion. Jushin kui shisho sho. Born of this impermanent body, born of this impetuous mouth, born of this clinging mind. Isai ga konkai sangye. I now openly acknowledge. I now confess with humility. I now repent wholeheartedly and accept all consequences with equanimity. Now the three refuges. Three treasure refuges. Namu Kie Butsu. I take refuge in Buddha, the fully awakened take refuge in Dharma, the compassionate teaching.
I take refuge in Dharma, the compassionate teaching.
Namu Kie So. I take refuge in Sangha, the harmonious community.
I take refuge in Sangha, the harmonious community.
Ye Butsu Mujo Son. To Buddha, the incomparably honored one. Ye Ho Rijin Son. To Dharma, honorable for its purity. Ye So Wago Son. To Sangha, honorable for its harmony. Ye Bhutyo. I venerate Buddha completely. Ye Hokyo. I venerate Dharma completely. Ye Sokyo. I venerate Sangha completely. Please repeat after me. I have taken refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. The Tathagata realized true enlightenment and is my great teacher. I have taken refuge in the Tathagata. Please look with compassion upon my humble vows. For the sake of the newcomers, Tathagata is something like the thus come one, the one who comes from and returns to suchness or apprehends thusness, the thusness of existence, the absolute reality. So after each of these, after the clacker sticks, I will ask you the question if you will observe this precept, and you respond if you agree. It's a little late if you don't. You agree by saying yes, sensei, which means teacher. So the first pure precept, not creating evil, do no harm. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? Second pure precept, practicing good, do only good. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? The third pure precept, purifying intention, do good for others. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? You must not break these three pure precepts. Please observe these precepts as you have promised. Please bow. So here again, for the sake of any newcomers, purity in Buddhism is not moral purity, it's more non-dual grasp of reality rather than a dualistic viewpoint. The meaning of purity. And good luck with these. They're difficult. You have received the three pure precepts, now the 10 grave precepts. These are the precepts of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Buddhas are enlightened ones, awakened ones, I should say, better term. Bodhisattvas are enlightening beings who are on the path. So Shakyamuni was a bodhisattva before his transformative experience in which he became fully awake, which is the meaning of Buddha. Affirm life, do not kill. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? Yes, be giving, do not take what is not freely given. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? Yes, honor the body, do not engage in sexual misconduct. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? Yes, manifest truth, do not speak falsely. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? Yes, proceed clearly, do not cloud the mind with intoxicants. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? Yes, and see only your own faults, do not discuss the faults of others. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? Yes, and know self and other as one. Do not praise yourself at others' expense. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? Yes, share generously. Do not spare the Dharma assets. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? Yes, actualize harmony. Do not indulge in anger. Will you observe this precept until you realize Buddhahood? Yes, No intimacy with all things. Do not defame the three treasures. Will you observe this precept until you realize this? You must not break these 10 grave precepts. Please observe these precepts as you have promised. Please be seated if you're more comfortable. Sorry. So again, the precepts are not so obvious as they sound. We have to kill in order to survive. How many ways can we take what is not freely given? What is sexual misconduct? If you look at nature, it seems to be every form possible. We know we cannot speak the truth, and yet we strive to not speak falsely. And how many kinds of intoxicants are there? Discussing the faults of others, this came from Huineng, where he said he did not see their faults. He did not see their behavior as their fault, and so forth. So the last 5 you may have noticed, praising yourself at others' expense, are more social. First 5 are kind of personal. So when you become a disciple, now you're turning your practice to the Sangha and to service to the Sangha. So these precepts are more along those lines of how do you relate to other members of the Sangha. Do not spare the Dharma assets, either time, your effort, energy, all of the perfections, in other words, you devote to this practice as well as to your daily life or lay practice. Your projects, your work, your family, all important, as equally important. So here, not sparing the Dharma assets means then coming into your life in a natural way. So it doesn't interfere or create a conflict. And speaking of conflict, anger is a natural reaction to many circumstances. So when we say do not indulge it, it means that we do not speak or act out of anger without reflection. Sometimes it's very appropriate to act and speak out of anger, but you have to be sure that that is going to have the effect that you want it to have. And not defaming the 3 treasures of Buddha, Dharma, Sangha means we try to do nothing to bring any kind of, what would you call it, question in people's minds about the 3 treasures of Buddhism. So when sentient beings receive the precepts, they enter the realm of the Buddhas, which is none other than the great enlightenment. Truly, they are the children of Buddha. Buddha was said to have come to regard all beings as his children, and not in a condescending way. And now the blow of compassion. We'll ask each of you to take the upright kneeling posture on your cushion, or choki in Japanese. Hands in gasho. perhaps a few more words of explanation about rakusu. In order, it's a form of punishment. It's not even a form of violence, which I think has fallen into disuse in the West because of these kinds of misunderstandings. If you push your fingers into your shoulders, you feel pain. This is where stress builds up during the day. So the stick relieves the physical stress and is also said to blow thoughts out of the mind, like an exhaust fan. So it helps in the meditation practice, help you wake up. So now the presentation of the vestments. I'd like you to step up and bring each rakusu forward, still folded. Keep it folded, and we will incense them first.
All at once?
Just one. Start with the top one. Yeah. Just the vestment. There's other stuff there. Just leave it there. Yeah. That's for later. Sorry about that. Okay, we hold these together and go around 3 times. You want to hang on to the envelope. It should be noted that we have taken up the way of sewing these vestments for ourselves. We make exception in some cases. One benefit of sewing your own vestment. It takes time to complete. You have to think about what you're doing. the sewing teacher keeps her eye on you. So if there's any question in her mind, I hear about it. Now we do the bows. If you want to do prostration, you're welcome to. Step back a little bit off of the blanket so that you can do that. The standing bows are always proper. So the lineage bows are timed by the doan. Just one more comment on the rakusu, which Matsuoka Roshi made, said to treat this as you would your own eyes. It's okay to wear it when you're practicing, but if you're cleaning, you might consider putting it away or wearing it backwards, like a Mighty Mouse cape. Come to save the day. So in this case, ordinarily we would bow side by side to each other across the altar, and we would both turn to face the altar and bow. In this case, I think the best way to do this is for us to bow to each other this way. And we'll do 3 with the timing of the bells. Which represents the vertical dimension of the lineage, meaning you come to this practice by way of my agency. That does not mean you're my disciples. You may be my student, or you may elect to mentor with another one of the priests in the community. But you're the disciples of Buddha, or you're disciples of Buddhism, however you want to think about it. But please do not think that you're my disciple. And now we bow together to Buddha, represented by the statue. Which again represents the horizontal dimension of the lineage equality before the Buddha. And now the presentation of your certificates. You were given your Dharma name at your last ceremony. Please each step forward. You can put kusats again. 1 pinch of incense this time. Let incense this together 3 times around. This is a certificate of the ceremonies. ZAIKE TOKUDO has all the various steps that we went through. Plus a letter from Zinku Jerry Smyers, our SEO board chair, and guidelines for disciples. Kusats means vow and repentance, which you have demonstrated quite fully. You don't get a new name, a second name, Kago, a second name until the next ceremony. Ryugen, whose name means something like the whisper of a dragon or a dragon's whisper. We usually think of a dragon as a loud, roaring kind of entity. Please place 1 pinch of incense. And the incense is together 3 times. The actual certificate of discipleship is the rakusu, but we provide a paper certificate as well. So you have a record of the ceremony to refer to should you choose to. Next, Daniel, Ido Dog, step forward. Daido means great way. John Daido Lori, recently deceased, 2-3 years ago, shared this name. And I'm sure if you look in the research online, you'll find more than one Daido in history. It's a very big name. Henyak, Richard Klugeman. I hit the chart. Get this instance together. So Henyak means something like transforming life and death. So if you're transforming life and death, it means you're transforming life and death into something that you do not understand as life and death or your conventional interpretation. So this is functionally what Buddha did. Shikak. Mr. Paul, Manuel, Avila, paper. So Shikak. Okay. We had a little discussion about your name as actualized awakening or acquired awakening, which are various interpretations of the Japanese syllables. But the best English, I think, is actualizing awakening. So it is a continuing process. So Dogen Zenji, who founded our form of practice, or really brought it back from China in 13th century Japan, said that when taking the tonsure, shaving the head, we are already intoxicated. This means the intoxication of the senses and the clinging mind. These disciples have entered upon a path of, you might say, extreme sobriety through Zen meditation. As mentioned before, how many kinds of intoxicants are there? Just to exist is to be intoxicated. So I'd like to declare that these candidates, without naming all their names, have formally become lay disciples of Soto Zen Buddhism. And I charge this Sangha to welcome them and lend them support in their practice. For this purpose, which I forgot to do with our chukai, we'll just take a procession around the space and ask everyone to stand and bow as we pass by. So I will come this way and you'll see about. You bow our head slightly.